Hi guys, it's Sophie. So I wanted to do a quick currently reading video with you today and a mini haul. So I just finished reading Wittgenstein's Mistress, which I talked about in my last video, and I read that alongside The Familiar. They're really hard books and I really shouldn't have read the two of them together. It's put me in a bit of a reading slump. So I just really wasn't sure what to read and decided to go to the bookshop and just get a bit excited about books. I actually picked up A Girl as a Half-Formed Thing by Eleanor McBride, which is just so good so far, but it's probably not the best sort of thing to dive into after something that's made my brain hurt a little bit. It has very, very experimental sentence structure and it's incredible, but it's told in sort of fragments through characters that sort of seem to sort of switch and change a little bit, and I just think it's probably not the right thing to be reading now. I need something a little bit more linear just to reset my brain and get me back into things again. So the first one I got was The First Bad Man by Miranda July. I know nothing about this book, but it's been haunting me throughout the entirety of 2015. The sort of black cover with this yellow band, in the hardcover it was a wraparound. I've seen it everywhere and I just keep picking it up. I've probably picked it up 15, 20 times and put it back down again. There's no information on it. All of these on the back are reviews, all of the insider reviews and all the back are reviews. I have no idea what this is about, but it's everywhere and it's just been tempting me, and screw it, I had a bit voucher. So the next one I have is a collection of short stories, and it's The Thing Around Your Neck by Chimamanda Ngozi Adiche. I read Adiche's book on, I think it was How to Be a Feminist or We Should All Be Feminists. It's a short sort of pamphletty one based on her TED talk, but I really enjoyed that one and thought she had a really interesting voice. So I know Americana's the one you're supposed to read first, but I thought I'll jump into some short stories, see what I think of them, and short stories are always good for reading slumps, so I figured we'll have a go with this one. And then the next one I have is another short story collection, as I say, just trying to kickstart myself a bit, and that's Young Skin by Colin Barrett. I picked this one up a bit sort of whimmy again. They're all short stories set in Ireland, I believe. One thing I will say is the book itself is lovely, isn't it? There's sort of typography and the back is gorgeous as well. Those are all reviews. It's by Vintage, it's vintage books, but it's one of the worst made books I think I've ever seen. I don't know if the paper's just really rubbish, but like if I try and turn the page at the bottom of the page, it's ripping as I'm doing it. I don't know what they've done, I don't know what's different about this book. I normally really love the Vintage, sort of the way they put their books together. I think they hold really nicely. This one is just not of the same quality, and I went through the pile, it's not just the one, just all the print copies of this book in that particular shop just seem to be really low. I don't know why, it's a shame. If anyone from Vintage is watching this, tell me why, because I do normally really like them and it is a gorgeous book, but I think I'll just have to read it really carefully so that I don't screw it up. But I am excited for this one, just to have something a little different, and I don't think I read any Irish books last year. I read a couple in 2014, but it would be interesting to get some sort of Irish short stories in there. And then the last one I've got is the most horrendous cover that I've ever seen in my entire life. So I'm following my own advice. In my books for breakup videos I told myself Stephen King, and I love Stephen King and I haven't read Cujo yet, and this is the kind of book that I can read and probably just give to a trash shot because it's pretty minging. It is, however, one of the floppiest things, so it's going to be one that I'm going to curl up. I'm going to curl the pages back, I'm going to just read it, I'm going to screw it up, I don't care, I'll read it in the rain, I will do whatever. But I haven't read a King in a very long time, partly because I've nearly read all of them, sort of the older classic King, and I wanted to save some. But do you know what, I think I could do with a good horror novel. This one is about a dog called Cujo who goes into an bat-infested cave and gets bit by one of the bats and comes out changed, and starts terrorising the family. So probably a vampire dog, but do you know what, it's fun, it's Stephen King, I friggin' love Stephen King, so what I'm going to do this afternoon is sit down with a cafetiere and this book and just devour it. So I hope you're all well, and I hope that your sort of reading is going well and not as slumpy as mine is. It's a horrible way to start the new year with a blooming reading slump, but oh well, what happens happens. I'll see you ever so soon in my next video. Not quite sure what I'm going to film about yet, but I'll figure something out. If you have any ideas, just leave them down below for me. Alright, I'll see you soon. Bye bye.